What's going on, everyone? So Jeanie Buss gave a all-time most important Lakers list. It was her top 5 on the list, and it made up of Kobe Bryant, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, LeBron James, Magic Johnson, and Phil Jackson. She said this on All the Smoke, and look, All the Smoke, you got Steven Jackson, you got Matt Barnes. They were like, hey, what about Phil Jackson, right? As she's doing the list, it was just a fun little tongue-in-cheek type question that she just answered in good fun. And, she's gotten criticized for the list. And Shaquille O'Neal recently linked it and said, why? And that whole thing. But here's the thing. One, I actually don't think she's wrong about this. And we're going to break down this list and really go over it. And then, of course, I want to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Two, I don't think Shaq was really upset or bothered by it. I mean, Shaq has been very humble pretty much his whole post-career, and he's talked about how, the guys that have had so much impact on the Lakers over the years and stuff like that. And I don't think that this was a big deal. And this was something that, if I'm not mistaken, happened in 2021 when Jeanie made this list, and it's just kind of resurfaced. People are talking about it. There's all kinds of articles circulating once again, and you even had Jerry West back in 2021 kind of take a jab about it. He said, I saw the other day, Jeanie Buss made a statement, the 5 most important Lakers, one of the most offensive things I've ever heard in my life, West said on the Hoop du Jour podcast. West also said, I was a big part of the Lakers, and how much success would they have had without me? And look, Jerry West was a very important piece. Don't get me wrong. He was kind of the architect behind the scenes, kind of mastering everything, Shaq, all of those things, right? So I get Jerry West's sentiment. And again, I think that people are taking it too much to heart, which I completely get, these guys are athletes and whatnot. So I get their sort of slight towards what Jeanie Buss said. The media and stuff like that, I think they're just kind of running with it as news usually kind of does. And especially when it's slow news time, it's kind of what it's about. But let's dive into Jeanie's list and make the argument to defend Jeanie, right? Because I don't think she's wrong. I really don't. And starting with Kobe, look, that's a no-brainer. He's going to be on any Laker list. He is the most important, most impactful, most favorable Laker ever, right? He is Mr. Laker in so many ways. He was the heart and soul for many generations. And, he was a guy that won 5 NBA championships with the Lakers. He was the face of the Lakers and many parts of the league for 20 years, right? So Kobe Bryant, I think, is the easiest of that argument. I don't think anybody would question that by any degree. I don't think anyone would say oh no, Kobe would be otherwise, because again, there are so many Laker greats. Think of all the great Lakers throughout the history. You could even make an argument for guys like Pau Gasol, right? Where would the Lakers have been if they never went and got Pau Gasol? Does Kobe have 5 NBA championships? Does Kobe stay with the Lakers, or does he end up going to Chicago or Dallas, right? Mark Cuban even said, I thought it was done. I thought he was coming to Dallas, right? So who knows? Not getting Pau Gasol could have changed the course of Laker history forever, right? So, there's many arguments and many cases that you can make of the Lakers and players throughout history having just incredible impacts over the course. Even guys like Robert Horry, right? What happens if he doesn't hit that shot? Derek Fisher, right? You could make a list of 100 guys throughout the course of Lakers history that have had impacts. Wilt Chamberlain, when he went to the Lakers, right? All of those things I think are huge factors. But when you look at the scale and criteria of just impact, success, what it did for the Lakers as a whole, right? Kobe Bryant is up there in every category. So Kobe, I think, is the most respectable. That's the no-brainer. That's obviously number 1. So no controversy there. Next up, Magic and Kareem, right? I'm going to lump them two together because they were together, right? And again, they had the biggest impact maybe ever in Lakers history. One, Magic and Bird saved the league, literally saved the league. Talking about arguably the greatest era in Laker history with Showtime. They won 5 NBA championships. They went to numerous finals. You had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who many people think is number 2 all time, if not number 3 all time, depending on where you have LeBron and Jordan ranked, right? Magic Johnson is, in many people's list, top 5 all time. These two guys were box office for the Lakers. And not only saved the Lakers, but saved the NBA, right? It got people bought in. It got people excited. It got people pumped. Like, it changed the landscape of the Lakers and the NBA. I mean, you could make an argument that these two guys are the overall general most impactful Lakers ever, right? Especially Magic. Because of not only what it did for the Lakers that kind of paved the way for, a Kobe and Shaq, and paved the way for, LA being this huge media conglomerate and being this huge iconic franchise and all that stuff, right? There's so many things about Magic and Kareem that were just ridiculously impactful over the course of the Lakers' just history. And so I don't think that these two, along with Kobe Bryant, are controversial by any means. I think that those are all no-brainers. Now, maybe Jerry West and others might feel otherwise, but seriously, I mean, those three guys, Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who would be on the list above those three on any list? I'm talking about top 5 Lakers, top 5, anything. Take your pick. Name anything Lakers related, and how do you not have those three on that list? I don't, and could just never see that. Things get kind of controversial, right? This is where I think a lot of the just slander and slight that people are taking is coming from. And first off is LeBron James, right? Now, at glance, I get the argument, right? LeBron James, he came to Lakers. He's only won 1 NBA championship with the Lakers. And, compared to Kobe and Magic and Kareem and, Jerry West being the logo and Shaquille O'Neal and him and what he was able to do for the Lakers and just his impact and, the big name free agent that came and kind of set the tone for the Lakers going forward and all of those things. So I get that. But couple things about LeBron James and why I think LeBron makes sense. First off, LeBron is the guy that's on the Lakers right now, so you kind of want to show face, right? You kind of want to LeBron, the last thing you want is LeBron feeling slighted. So it's kind of a tough predicament to be put in regardless. But secondly, LeBron as the polarizing figure and as what he is coming to the Lakers, it was like a match made in heaven, right? The celebrity, the icon, arguably greatest player ever, kind of fallen in that line of Laker greats, coming in and delivering an NBA championship, right? It's impactful. Now, I don't think it's to the degree that his decision to Miami was, but I do understand it. Also, he was the first big guy to come since Kobe Bryant. And on top of that, the Lakers were basically irrelevant at that point. I mean, Lakers always have a form of relevance because it's the Lakers. But if we're being honest, the Lakers weren't going anywhere. They weren't really doing anything. We were getting towards the end of the Kobe era, and it was just what do we do? We're not a playoff team. We're have this young core, which may or may not be great. Yeah, it's great, but we're not really winning. Nothing's looking good. Timothy Mozgov and Luol Deng are prize marquee free agent signings at one point, and it's just an absolute mess. And then LeBron James coming off of his Cavs championship and just, where is he going to go and how is this going to impact and affect the league? And then it's he has all these other options, and then he goes to the Lakers, and it was just this huge thing, right? Again, not to the level that his decision to Miami was, but it was met with LeBron James just saved the Lakers. And I don't know if you remember, but that was a big issue a lot of people had. One, you had the Kobe stands that were like, we'll never accept LeBron James. And then you had a lot of the media and just people in general that were like, the only reason the Lakers are going to be relevant is because of LeBron James. So there was like this push and pull for LeBron. But he comes to the Lakers. Who knows what happens with that young core if he doesn't get hurt, right? He ends up getting hurt. They end up missing. And then the next year we get Anthony Davis and boom, we win an NBA championship. And then the following season, LeBron very likely could have won another championship, but Anthony Davis gets hurt, right? Lakers were second in the league at that point, and the Lakers were plus 15.5 with LeBron, AD, and Dennis Schroeder before Dennis Schroeder got COVID and got sick. Like, there's so many things that happened in that course. Then on top of that, you go and you make the Russell Westbrook. Like, there's just so many things that have kind of been this influx in LeBron's career, but he is arguably the most iconic figure in sports, period, because of the media and the longevity and the accolades and everything, right? Jordan is, majorly iconic. Kobe is majorly iconic. They're global, right? They are just otherworldly stratospheres. But even then, especially Jordan, we didn't live in an age with media and everything like that as we do today. And LeBron being the chosen one, being, the king, all that jazz, all that stuff, him eventually making his way to the Lakers towards the end of his career had an impact on his legacy on the Lakers, as well as like the global impact. And so I do get the idea of like his impact on the Lakers at the time, and given the circumstances and everything. You also got to remember, this was back in 2021. So this was coming off of an NBA championship in year 2 for LeBron? Like, so at the time, it makes sense. At the time, I completely get it. And then lastly is Phil Jackson. Now, again, this was kind of thrown out there by Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes. But again, it makes sense. He is arguably the greatest coach in NBA history. You can make an argument in any sports history. Him having Jordan and then Kobe and Shaq and all of that stuff, winning 5 NBA championships for the Lakers. He ends up leaving. The Lakers are awful. He comes back. The Lakers start winning again. Phil Jackson and his impact, I think, is massive. And what he did for the Lakers over the course of all those years in which he won 5 NBA championships, and his relationship and connection to Jeanie Buss, as well as the Lakers organization, as well as the history of the NBA, as well as Kobe Bryant, as well as all of these things, I understand the argument for Phil Jackson. Now, could you have left Phil Jackson off of it and just kept it players? Sure, but then still somebody's getting left off. Somebody's going to be slighted. Now, is that Jerry West? Is it Shaquille O'Neal? Who do you put in that place? Is it going and acquiring Wilt Chamberlain, right? Like, there's so many things that you could make an argument for. She could have thrown her dad, right? Like, you could have done a lot for that 5th slot. But given Phil Jackson's coaching pedigree and hierarchy and what he was able to do with the Lakers and managing Shaq and Kobe's just craziness and all of that, look at how high Shaq speaks of Phil Jackson, how high Kobe spoke of Phil Jackson, how high everybody has spoke of Phil Jackson and what he did and how he was able to kind of keep guys focused and in line, and the way his teachings went about and the way his coaching was about and just everything. I get that. I also think it was part of like on the moment, like, hey, what about Phil Jackson? And she even says, right, does that count? Does Phil Jackson count? And they, and they were like, yeah, like what? Like, so she was just like, all right, we'll go with that. Like, again, I don't think that I get the idea of it's controversial, but Jerry West being the logo, look, Jerry West is iconic in and of himself, and what he was able to architect, being an architect over the course of just all the levels of championships that he was able to put together and whatnot. I don't think the Phil Jackson thing is as crazy as some may think. And look, again, I think people are buying into it a little too much. I think it's not something that is that, like, no way, I can't believe that. Like, it's one of those things. It's just a fun little gimmick question on a podcast that you're trying to just talk. And, she's just trying to be a good sport and play into it and talk about it and gave people that were her opinion. But that's the beauty. I'm sure other people have other opinions. I'm sure if you asked Jerry West, he would probably say himself and Kobe and Magic and Kareem and, whatever, right? Like, there's a lot of variables that can go into that. And it's just like, what's your all-time starting five? Everyone always has different controversial takes or whatever. What's your, who are the five most important players in NBA? Like, everyone has their different, who's the greatest player of all time? It's Kareem. No, it's Jordan. No, it's LeBron. Like, everybody, it's perception, it's idea, it's all that stuff. But I don't think it wasn't like if she was like Derek Fisher, Robert Ory, Rick Fox, like, Smush Parker, like, then yeah, I think people would have been like, what is this lady? Like, what is she talking? But everyone on that list are all arguably make sense for that list. And at least 3 of those 5 are locks in that list no matter what. And, whenever it comes to stuff like that, you're always going to get some people that are slighted or some people that are upset or some people that felt like they were left off, But I don't know. I don't think it was that big of a deal. But it's just interesting to see kind of the insight and hear all that stuff. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you agree? Disagree? Somewhere in between? How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it.